Coming to you live in the 5, 4, 3, 2, 3.
Hi mate.
Hey
welcome back.
It's been a long time.
It's been a wee while.
Yeah, we've been busy.
We've been very busy. Hello to everybody that's watching. Sorry we were a little bit late. We had some technical issues. But we're all fine now and we're all ready to go.
Yeah, we haven't done it for so long then I think we forgot how to do everything, didn't we?
We did. But I'm going to drop a bombshell right to start off.
Let's address the big elephant in the room.
Yeah. I think everybody's probably watched it, and if they haven't, I suggest they go onto any news station ever and look at what's just happened in Bristol last night.
Yeah.
Good old Bristol.
Yeah, you used to work there as well.
I used to live there.
Yeah, you did.
It's a lovely place, surrounded by lovely people. And everyone's dead hippie and all happy as life, and that's literally Bristol. So to see the state of Bristol on the news was quite
it was
quite
upsetting.
I told you about it earlier on, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Let me just move this while it's doing me head in. Yeah.
And so if you've seen it, drop a comment and see if let's hear what your thoughts are on what happened in Bristol, if you've seen anything on the news or anything like that.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Tate.
Hiya, Mum.
Oh, I second Mum. But yeah, no, so today we're going to be talking about a load of different things, but we wanted to kick off talking about Bristol because we think it's quite relevant to what we're going to be talking about with the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, well, it's a big one, isn't it, really?
It is a big one.
Yeah.
It's a real big one.
But it kind of interlinks because, like, we wanted to talk about it for about a week, and then this has kicked off, so it's like, it's a definite, we need to talk about it.
It's I think when you watch the news, it's kind of, it seems like it's really worrying times with everything that's going off and what's happening in Bristol and the riots with Black Lives Matter, and it just seems to me that there's so much anger in the world and there's nowhere to direct it.
Yeah.
So it's now directed to groups.
Yeah.
Rather than the actual problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It feels like a dream, but not a good dream. Like something that you think you're going to wake up from. But this is the world now. This is what's happening.
To put it into kind of perspective, if you've not obviously watched the news, because you like us and you watch it very, very, very rarely, but it kind of popped off this morning.
Yeah.
Basically what happened was there was a riot. There was a peaceful protest that started in Bristol to do with a new act that's been put in, basically to give the police force a bit more power in the legalities to do with COVID. And the peaceful protesters basically decided that they didn't agree with giving the police force more powers, so they were marching the streets of Bristol to basically protest against that idea, which is absolutely fine. And then I don't know what time it was, but it was dark and late, and I think most of the protest was kind of almost packing up, going to go home. All of a sudden, there was a group of people, nobody knows who. I know there's been a few arrests that have obviously started it from a peaceful protest to a riot protest. There was numerous amounts of police.
But do you know what struck me? Because you told me about this in the morning, and then you showed me a video. What struck me is the amount of people that's just stand there and watch with their phones out.
Yeah.
Like it's content. And no one fucking, like, does anything. They just stand there and watch. You know what I mean? It's like...
And that's the worrying thing.
And that's how it interlinks with what we're talking about today.
I mean, even watching the videos, there, you've got coppers stood there, and I think part of it is the fact that they didn't really know what to do. I mean, they had their police trucks being set on fire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's up?
I need to focus the camera.
Oh,
It's
is
jumping
it skipping?
about. No, look. See?
Yeah. 1 second, guys. Another technical difficulty.
Let's focus on that. Is it stopped?
Yes. There we go. On we're back. So I feel like everybody that was involved in everything, literally in a matter of seconds, there was riot vans being set on fire. There was the police station had been kicked in, had been, stoned, rocks thrown at it.
Lighting fires with a police van.
Yeah. But the thing that bothers me the most is the fact that if you look at the people that were doing it, they're not the people that started the peaceful protest.
Yeah, it's just some people came along.
Yeah. Literally, I feel like it was a case of a bunch of people figured out that it was a way to have a get-together, and thought, let's go and cause some trouble. Mm-hmm. We've all done it when we were young. Not to that extent, but we've all done it when we were young. And if you look at them, if you look through the masks and you look in people's eyes, they're all, I would say, between the age of 16 to probably our age.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? 28, 30 at the latest. It's very rarely that you see any of them. Now, don't get me wrong, as it progressed, there was more and more people becoming more and more violent, and I think that was because the fact that the police had to step in and use force to stop the people. Mm-hmm. The other people didn't like that fact, and that's exactly what they were protesting against, that the police have the right to use this force.
Exactly.
So
it's counterproductive.
It doesn't make any sense. But I don't think the people that started these riots, I don't feel like they even knew what it was. If you were to ask them what was the reason why the protest was being started, they probably wouldn't even be able to give you an answer. Yeah. Because they don't know. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But the protest itself towards the political issue was in the right direction. It's just a case of we live in a world today where it can just turn. And that's the problem.
It is the problem. And you've got to ask yourself, like, where are the morals for these people?
Well, there isn't any.
Why?
That's the question. And that's where we delve into the deep hole
of the destructive nature of humanity.
Yeah, as it says in the title.
Yeah. Also, hello everyone that's just joined the stream. We're not ignoring you.
But I think we jump to these conclusions, and I think, like I said, like if you watch the news, when I was watching the news earlier on, the thing that annoyed me the most was the fact that none of the news stories were about what the protest was about. Or the narrative had changed from the reason why the protest started to police being brutally attacked. And that to me screams out a massive issue with the media, because it's like you're missing the narrative. I get what happened was wrong and it shouldn't have happened. I get that. But you then also need to include
away from the actual problem in the first place.
Exactly, which nobody is talking about. No. And that's an act that's trying to be passed through government.
So now it will be passed
to give police more power.
Like, it will just be passed without anyone thinking about it, because everybody's thinking about
what should happen.
All the riots and the police vans blowing up and all that kind of stuff. Which, you don't know. That's maybe what somebody wants.
I mean, we didn't want to do this podcast to make it dead depressing. By the way, I didn't want everyone to come in and like, dead depressing. First off, Bristol riots. That's it.
Yeah, but we've got to address the elephant in the room, haven't we? We've got to talk about that.
Yeah. Which is why we're also going to start a good news night on a Friday. Just to let you know, we've been saying it for weeks. It is in the process.
But as you can see, we've got
new merch.
We've got merch going on. We've got a gaming channel that we're setting up. We're TikToking. We're TikTokers now.
Yeah.
We've got 12.1k. Check this morning.
We've made about 7p so far.
Yeah.
We're going up in the world.
Yeah.
But made more money than you.
It's going the right way. Do you earn money on TikTok, bro?
No.
Do you earn money?
We do. Even if it is 7p.
Money's money, bro.
That's
Now what
7
we've gotta
grains
do
of
is
sugar.
We've got to double that 7p
Yeah, 10
30 times.
30 times.
Yeah. Do the maths. Just double it, then double it, then double it, but do it 30 times, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. We're going to turn that 7p into 7 billion million. But to bring us on to what the podcast was actually about, and the reason why the title is The Destructive Nature of Humanity. Again, this could be talking two ways. It could be talking really depressive. It depends on the narrative that you want to take from this video, but I don't think it needs to be a negative thing. What I feel like it needs to be is an open conversation.
It's genuine conversation that we was having when we was at work the other day, and I was like, do you know what? Stop. This is a podcast. We'll talk about it on the podcast instead.
But also, we didn't agree.
You were kind of going one way. I was kind of, I don't know, just I was going the other way. So I thought it would be good to talk about it here instead.
100%.
One of the points that I was making was, are we all born destructive? And the reason why I say that is because, like, I've got kids at home, and all they want to do is break. Like, from the moment they were born, they want to break. They just want to break stuff. You hand them something, they smash it.
Yeah.
You give them something, they bite it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just starts off like that.
Yeah.
And then that's where I came to say, like, what happens, like, is it down to the parents to install morals into kids? And what would happen if they didn't? Would they carry on breaking as they get older?
I think it's a mixture of parents and society.
Yeah.
Because you can put a lot of blame's probably the wrong word, but you could put a lot of blame on the parents and say it's their whole responsibility. But you could also say the same about society when the parents aren't there. So when the kids go to school, when they go to nursery, when they, you know what I mean? You've got other people in the society, such as teachers, blah, 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 blah.
It is labelled
that
like
control.
Like scientists and like doctors or whatever, they label it as curiosity. But there's plenty of curious species that don't fucking break stuff all the time.
Yeah.
It's like we come out and then we're like, oh, what the fuck can I break? Like, and the amount of times a day that I have to tell my own kids off, like, why are you breaking that? Like, Taylor, for example, said something the other day, like, oh, that thing over there, shall I break it? Like, why is that your first thing? First thing you think of is, oh, shall I break it?
Yeah.
So, like, from birth, are we destined to just do what we're doing?
I think it's a mixture. I don't know, because you could take that. Yeah,
what do you lot think?
Because I feel
Put it
like
in the comments, because I am actually genuinely interested in everybody's opinion on this, because I know I've got my beliefs.
But I feel like you could take a different spin on it. You know how you said, like, doctors and scientists label it as curiosity? Maybe it's not the act itself. Maybe it's what happens after the act.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, the curiosity comes in after that act
What
has
happens
happened. If
I stab this thing?
That's the mean. Like, what's the consequences of me doing that?
Yeah.
Even if you know it's wrong, it's like you don't know it's wrong until you've tried it and then realised it's wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But so, like, let me give you another example. Say, like, there's a spider running across the floor. Don't matter which one of my kids it is, they'll try and stamp on it.
Yeah, that's just
and
weird.
then I have to be like, why are you trying to kill it? Like,
put it in the glass.
That's a life. Like, try and take it outside.
Yeah.
But they just want to, just like, I'll kill it. Like, who's installed that into you?
Yeah, because that's not you. So
yeah, so
that
I'm
means
trying
then
to fight.
Society has put that barrier. Do you see what I mean? Like, you
So
can't
what
put
they
all that
watch-
burden on the parents.
Yeah.
Because society has then said to them, spiders are bad, spiders do this,
Yeah, 'cause
spiders do
I'm
that.
there like, I didn't raise you like this. You see me put it in a glass.
Exactly.
And you see me take it outside.
Yeah.
So how can I not? I understand what you're saying. So,
But then
my kids aren't demon
as these
children,
kids get
right?
older, what you've also got to understand is kids learn more from society than they do from the parents. And the reason why I say that is because they're in society.
I'm witnessing that firsthand with my kids, like,
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, because obviously most of your kids are at school or at nursery, which means that they don't spend
Enough
They
time.
spend time in that environment in society, not with you.
So that tells me to install a good moral standing into my children. I should take them away from society and out of school. This is where we start arguing.
Because we'll go on to that in a minute. But but in theory, you're right.
Yeah.
But, and that I suppose, if you break it down, is one of the main reasons probably why different generations have accomplished less and less and less as generations have moved on, because the people that were teaching those morals have become less and less over those generations. So it's now at a point where you've got parents that didn't have any morals enforced into them, so now they're not enforcing any morals into the kids, which means that the only people that are enforcing morals into the children are the teachers or the other friends, etc., which is society, because there isn't that parental moral situation anymore. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that all parents do that, by the way. I'm not saying, I'm not a parent, so I couldn't tell
I'm the one that generalises, like him.
Yeah. But that would be the logical way. And I think, like, how we got onto the conversation was we were talking about morals and everything, you know what I mean, like what we said. But we kind of went down the road of where we were disagreeing was that is humanity a good thing or a bad thing? Or no, that's the wrong way of saying it. Is humanity destructive or is it not destructive? And is it fair to label humanity as a group?
Because, I was saying we should just let another species grow and take care of the earth instead.
Yeah.
So that's where the argument came in.
Like elephants. I feel like elephants.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like a cow gives birth to a baby cow and all that does is stand up and like mooch about and go and eat some grass, and like it doesn't do anything bad. But that
was how the conversation started.
It was,
because I was saying to you, don't you think it's weird that like every species within the first 2 years, every other species pretty much on Earth, bar humans, the infant can pretty much look after itself after about 2 years of life. Whereas for some reason humans can't do that. If you put a 2-year-old out on the street, it's not going to last very long at all, and you'll probably get done for child abuse.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like if you were to put a 2-year-old lion, it's probably going to survive. It'll be all right.
Its instincts,
you know what I mean?
will let it survive.
Whereas like humans don't have those instincts, which is where we then brought in the morals, because it's like, well, who teaches the infants those things? Like, where does those instincts come from? If they're not internalized, then they have to come from somewhere.
Which brings us on to like conscience, because then that's a different thing altogether, because that's within yourself feeling something's right or something's wrong, no matter what you've been told.
But what if you've never been told?
That's a good experiment to
do you know what I mean? Like if you're saying
what would your
that
conscience be as a human? If
you'd never been told that, if you've been kept in a room your whole entire life,
you're a blank slate.
And you've been given free will to make your own decision on each and every single piece in your life, rather than being said, this is right, that's wrong, this is right, that's wrong. You've had to make that decision your entire life. Then where does it leave you?
I think a big change in like my life is when I realised that right and wrong is a matter of perspective. So something that I feel is wrong, someone else is bound to feel is right. So how do you distinguish between right and wrong in the first place?
Well, that's where politics comes in.
That's where
that's literally what politics is. It's you have this opinion, you believe that's right. You have that opinion, you believe that's right. And it's just exactly the same with religion. One religion believes that this is right, the other religion believes that that's right. So, but which one's right? Do you know what I mean?
I don't think anyone is, because we've been at each other's fucking throats since the beginning of days. Like, someone had a bigger garden. So I'll fucking stab him in the back and I'll take his garden. What the fuck?
But it goes into what we're talking about as well, which was the hierarchy in society. Like, you can break hierarchy if you don't know what hierarchy is, it means the people that are in certain levels of power within humanity, basically. Then what you find is that you can break that down all the way back to one of our farly distant related ancestors,
Oh, yeah,
which
this
is
is
a lobster.
interesting. You talked to me about this.
Yeah, which is a lobster. Now, I know it sounds really, really weird, but if you believe in evolution, where we're coming from and everything like that, you can kind of pretty much guess that we've got relatives that live in the ocean, because that's where everything came from, basically.
Yeah, we all started out as water.
Yeah. Then what they've found is scientists have done a lot of experiments into lobsters, and the reason why is they've found that lobsters have a chemical in their brain called serotonin, which is the same thing that we produce, like every human produces.
That's what causes, like, the lack of it causes depression, isn't it?
Yeah, depression, anxiety, and that's the basic cause of the reason why people get depression, anxiety, so on and so on and so on. But what they've found is lobsters get depressed when they're not...
Facts.
Yeah, when they're not within the hierarchy. So basically what you find is, even in lobsters, you've got an alpha lobster that is at the top of the food chain, and you've got every single other lobster that's down it. The further you go down that hierarchy, the more depressed the lobsters are, which is exactly the same with humanity. If you're at the top earning $1 billion a year, in theory, you're less depressed because you've got less stuff to worry about than you are when you're at the bottom.
And also,
living with nothing.
That brings power.
Exactly.
And that's what humanity
Thrives
craves
off.
from the beginning.
Yeah.
And like when they stamp on a spider, they feel powerful.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a part of it.
But you put a human in a cage with a lion, they won't feel powerful, no matter how much money they've got.
Yeah, definitely.
Or how many times they've gone to the gym.
Yeah.
Like, you're not beating up a lion, mate.
No.
It's just going to kill you, dead out.
Yeah, you can.
Like, that's it.
Do you know what I'd try? I wouldn't try fighting it. I'd be like, do you know what, mate?
Take me.
I'm your friend. Like, can we just be friends, Mr. Lion? Like, meow, yes, yeah, I'd be your friend.
But, like that...
Meow, Matt, why'd you pull my tail? Meow.
That sounds like something off a film.
Meow. That sounds like a really fucking uppity lion, doesn't it?
That's literally just how society is in general, and it's exactly how it is now, and it's not going to change because, like we've just said, lobsters have got it built in them, a structure that is built into our DNA from day dot, and it's not going to change.
Let me give it to you like this. Like, I could tell someone the correct way of doing something,
yeah,
and no matter how right I am, they wouldn't listen to me because I don't wear the badge.
Yeah, you haven't got the qualification.
Yeah. So, like, if I, or even against someone's own instinct, they will listen to a guy in a white coat rather than following what feels right. You know what I mean? This dates back all the way to when we were talking about, like, the Nazis in Germany. Like, what was it that Ian said? Like, no, what you said, actually. Because if you go to Germany and you ask people, like, if you was back in them times, would you have been a Nazi? They'd say,
nah.
I don't know if this is... Yeah, I don't know how they talk, actually. That's a bit... I don't know.
No, but the average person would say no. If you took people back to World War One, World War Two, and you said to them, you know what, if you were in a similar situation, you were living in Germany when the Nazis were around, do you think you'd be one of the people trying to free everybody, or do you think you'd become a Nazi? 99% of people will turn around and say, I'd be the one freeing people. Psychologists turn around and say that 99% of people would have become a Nazi. And the reason for that is circumstances and the structure that you live in. If your family is getting threatened to be murdered, what are you going to do? Are you going to go and kill some people that you've never met, or do you want your family to die? That's when people are pushed to the brink of darkness. You're very surprised at how many people
would you
go
do?
go to darkness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't think that question probably never ever went through anybody's mind during that point.
Yeah.
It's only after that people went, well, we can't have that happening again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody that was living in Germany that was part of the Nazi party or whatever you want to call it, they didn't think about it because to them it was right. You know, like we were talking about, like they were offering amazing
right and wrong.
like clubs.
Like if you got one of the generals or the high-ranking officers and you asked them what they feel is right or wrong, they would say,
what
they're
they did
doing
was
a
right.
good thing and that they're doing God's work. You know what I mean? They'll all say it.
Yeah. You know, they got rid of tax. They were giving alcohol away for free in Germany, and
everyone was getting jobs.
Yeah.
So
but now, everybody, in theory, bar a few, know that that's wrong.
Yeah.
So that, in theory, should never happen again to that degree. Even though me and you, without going down a rabbit hole, both know that it's going off somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's another thing as well. If you do know that something, atrocities are going on the other side of the world, and you don't act, then doesn't that... This is what I was saying. It makes you just as bad as the person doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say there was a firing squad, there was people lined up at the wall, and you just stood there and did nothing because you were shitting your pants or whatever.
Yeah.
Then that makes you just as bad as the person pulling the trigger.
Yeah. Well, you could take that all the way back to the crucifixion of Jesus.
Yeah.
Everyone stood there and watched it happen for 3 days, 3 nights.
But I'll just stand there and watch.
But it's weird, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, they made a religion out of that principle.
Yeah.
Out of people standing there knowing that this person was going to come back
But
from the
doesn't
grave.
that... Do you not see... Do you know in Bristol... Go on a YouTube video and you can see that firsthand happening still.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's standing there and watching.
With the phone out.
And then what they'll do is upload that
Yeah.
and be excited that they're going to get some views on it.
Mm-hmm. That's all life is. Views.
Followers.
Yeah, we'll have followers.
TikTok followers.
No, but I think if you've done it... Again, that takes it down to morals. Who said to us that it was right to break the algorithm on TikTok? Because nobody told us it wasn't.
No, exactly.
But we did it.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, it's right in our eyes. We can do it, so why would we not?
Yeah, but would some people think that's wrong?
Probably the people that work at TikTok.
Yeah. Well, fuck you, because we only got 7p.
But do you see what I mean? Like that. But like, where does that come to? Like, that's at a crossroads where you can go 4 ways.
You see, like, when I was... I think about... how old was I? 23? I decided that right and wrong was a matter of perspective, and then that led me on to trying to discover where I place myself and what my moral standing is. So I decided I wanted to, like, by the time I'm like old and grey, I wanted to be wise. So wisdom for me is like the top. That's where I want to be. And if I can, I don't know if the morals that I follow are right, because in whose eyes, like, you know what I mean? Like, in his eyes, the invisible man, hers, Adam's, Eve's, fucking the chicken dance at road. So it's like, it's a tricky one. The only way I can decide, I think, like, for me, whether something is right or wrong is the way I feel, and that's down to conscience. But not everyone has a conscience.
What is a conscience?
Exactly, what is that? That's the thing.
Why have we got one and nothing else has? Or has everything got one, we just
Why
don't
did
know
the
about
chicken
it?
cross the road?
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
None. They just appeared.
But no, but like,
Do you know,
what,
like,
what
when
is
you-
a conscience?
do you know,
What
like,
is
on-
a subconscious?
Yeah.
What do you think it is? What's your opinion? Why do you think
This
you
is
have
what I'm-
subconscious thoughts?
This is literally what I spend a lot of time thinking about, and I've not got any answers yet.
But what about when you don't think about it, but you do? So you might not think about it, but your subconscious actually is still thinking about it.
Yeah. What is that?
Does your subconscious think about its subconscious and why it's a subconscious?
And is that even me?
And
Or
is that
it-
even you?
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like, But that comes back to personality. That comes back to everything that we've been talking about. Because it all evolves from your subconscious. Because a lot of things, if you were
you're
to
born.
look at,
No, actually, are you born without a conscience? Then is that why you stamped the spider without even caring? Because the way I have to put it to my kids is, if when you die, you might come back as a spider. So you don't want to be stamping that because you're stamping one of your family. You know what I mean? I
wouldn't say it's a conscious. I would say you were born without empathy.
And that's something that's taught to you.
Yeah, I don't think empathy is a thing that you're born with. I think empathy is a thing that you accumulate. And the reason why I said that is because if you look at all the mental disorders that are out there and all the psychologists and everything, everybody always says it's very unlikely that you're born with a mental disease, like paranoid schizophrenia. Like, it might run in your family and you might get that gene that gives you paranoid schizophrenia.
Yeah, most mental illnesses come from post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, but that happens in your life. That doesn't happen before you're born. In some cases, it probably could, because you're in the womb or whatever.
Why does that stress you out? Like, say something really bad happens and you're only a kid. Why does it stress you out? Are you already, like, say you was just born and then you seen your mum, not just born, you're like 2, and then someone comes in with an axe and like kills your mum. Why would you care? If you are born without a conscience and born without empathy and all that stuff, or if you had enough time to install that into your child before the fact.
Yeah, it's kind of like at what age? I mean, like, psychologists will turn around and say to you, your brain doesn't finish developing till you're in your like mid-20s. So if your brain's still developing, think about the lack of information you've got when you're 5.
Yeah.
Compared to the information that you accumulate when you're 25.
Maybe.
So when does that come in?
Maybe it didn't affect you as bad then, but as you find out,
as you've grown a conscience,
it starts affecting you and affecting you, and all these things that didn't affect you when you were a child start coming back.
Is it that, or you know how I said you're not born with a conscience or empathy?
Yeah.
Is it the fact that you have empathy and a conscience as a child, or is it the fact that when that terrible thing that gives you post-traumatic stress syndrome, when that happens, right?
Yeah.
Why do you? Is it instead of it you? Do you think it's society and everyone around you telling you that that was wrong? Because let's use the example you just said, right, about your mother getting hit by an axe or whatever it is, right, when you were a young kid. If that's never happened to you before and it's never happened to anybody else around you, then nobody knows how you're supposed to feel up until that point. Yeah. So no one's ever taught you need to feel horrific that that's just happened to one of your parents. Yeah. It's not until the act has happened, then everybody's responses that's witnessed that act then tell you that was so wrong.
So is your moral standing based on everybody else's opinion of everything?
Yeah.
That fucking sucks.
Because if you don't know, like we've just said, like if you don't know that's wrong, because you've never experienced it and no one else has experienced it, and no one's, say your parents have never had that conversation with you, because you're 5 and you don't know the difference, and then it happens, you don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
And then everybody, the police officers, everybody comes in and goes, it's really, really horrible, come and give us a cuddle, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And then your emotions start to come out, and then you get taught to have empathy about that.
Yeah. Well, the reason...
I don't know.
The reason why I had to sort of come over to morals is because I was kind of emotionless. And I couldn't tell the difference at first between right or wrong. I think it was because of my upbringing. Like, it wasn't the best. Yeah. So I never really had a set person to tell me right from wrong. Yeah. So when I came into my like adulthood, I was like a blank canvas that had no empathy for anyone. And I think I still struggle with that for now. So I have to revert back to my morals to tell me how to react.
But do you think instead of it being your parents that installed that, do you then think the person that you are now is made from, yes, you putting your own morals in place, but society in general putting morals in your place?
I try to not let society cloud what I think is right or wrong.
But then that goes to your subconscious, because if in the front of your brain you're thinking no, but subconsciously you've took that piece of information and you've stored it, and then at a later date when that piece of information is needed, your subconscious brings it back to your consciousness.
Yeah, like, oh, you remember this?
Yeah.
You don't like
and then
this.
You don't mean to, but you've already got an opinion, and you will already have decided whether that's right or wrong.
And that's developed because of everybody around me.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. Let's say you're a young man and you get born in a cancer estate or whatever, and you surround yourself with people that deal drugs, sell drugs, and you're in that environment. All you're going to know is that selling drugs makes you money and you need to put food on your table. So in your head, that's good. And if no one's told you any different, then that's right.
Yeah.
If you then take that same person, put it into a different place with middle class people that go to work all day, that don't rob, don't steal, don't do drugs, and then tell that person what you've just done for your whole entire life is wrong and you can't do it anymore.
They wouldn't be able to hack that.
You can't.
No.
How would you do that? You know what I mean? But then let's say they hack it and they get over that, and then they go, all right, then they have to introduce a new set of morals into their life of what you can't do in the middle class section. So your morals are always changing in your environment, which is what I mean about society. You can have your internalized model, you know what I mean? You can have them internalized, your own morals, but society itself will surround you with morals that mold you in the situation that you're put in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Like the different groups of friends that people have. They're one person with one group, they're a different person with that group, and the same with another group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they respond differently in accordance to the group that they surround themselves with.
So when you want to change like your moral standing or your beliefs of right or wrong, you have to change the people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Or
you have to change your circumstances. You have to. There's no other way of doing it. Because otherwise, the drug dealers are always going to keep you saying, you don't want to go over there. That's bad. These people, they go to work every day. You don't want to go to work every day. It's a shit job. You could just stand on the street corner. Ourselves make way more money than they're making. In your head, that's all I've ever known. So why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's exactly the same with, say, like the middle class. Why would you want to go over there? They're selling jobs, they're being arrested, they're going to prison all the time. Like, that's bad, you don't want to do that.
But, all right, what would you class us as?
I'd class myself as a free person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I really would.
And how did you do that?
I don't want to put myself into a group. Because I don't put myself into a group anymore.
The more you pull yourself out of all the groups, the more you get to decide what's right and what's wrong.
I would say the more that you pull yourself from a group, the more society pulls away from you.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you're pulling and society's trying to pull you back.
No.
What it's like is you're pulling and society goes, all right, go.
Yeah.
And the elastic band just snaps, and then before you know it, society's over here and you're over there.
Yeah.
Now,
And
depending on the circumstances you were when that elastic band started to be stretched, depends on where you end up. Because if your circumstances are surrounded by drug dealers, when that elastic band snaps, you're in prison. Because society's done away with you.
And then you're completely disconnected.
Yeah.
And you're in the bin.
But if you're in a middle class, upper class, whatever, nice environment, when you finally pull away from that, that elastic band leaves you with your own business, friends that support you, whatever it is, and society pulls away from you because that's pulling everyone else underneath you away from you.
Yeah.
So it's doing you a favour in one sense, but it's doing you not a favour in the other sense. But it's like we on our first podcast we spoke about social media and using it for you and against. It's exactly the same with society. It's like the old saying, I don't know if you've ever heard it, show me your 5 friends and I'll show you your future.
Yeah. That's a really good saying.
And that's so true. Show me the people that you spend your time with and I'll show you how your life will end up.
I don't have 5 friends, mate. Who the fuck's got 5 friends nowadays? 5 actual friends, bro. Like, who the fuck's got 5 friends?
Hi, Lindsay. Hi, Kirsty. Sorry, we've been on a rant. Hey up, Zach.
You're right, guys.
Nice to see you. Nice.
Lindsay just puts the egg. That was ages ago.
What was it? Sorry.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? How do you know the egg came first? All right, Gandhi.
She was there, mate.
Oh, she was there.
Yeah, she was there.
That makes perfect sense.
She was the reason why the chicken crossed the road.
What, the chicken was running from her?
Yeah, definitely.
Were you going to eat the chicken, Lindsay? Is that what happened?
Hello, Alan.
Help, dude. I'm really in need of your help with this.
Yeah, we won't say it out loud just in case people are watching it and aren't supposed to be watching. You know, the old Facebook thingy. Yeah, we don't need one of them, but we do need one of them.
Yeah, we do.
100%.
Please.
Sort it out, Alan. Sort it out. But that's a big rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of them, like we've said, like the more we go in, the more you think about it, the deeper it goes.
Can we talk about the video that I showed you before?
Yeah, it was a good video.
Before we started.
Yeah.
It was made like, I think it was in the 60s, where they were doing loads of experiments about how people would react to people in authority. And an experiment was conducted where they got a group of people off the street, and a guy in a white coat, a scientist, doctor, whatever you want to say, told these people that there's a guy in a room, and if he answers a question wrong, then you have to give him a shock. And as it went on, the shocks got higher and higher until it was like you'll kill the man with the last shock. But obviously, well, not obviously, but the guy that was in the room getting shocked was in on it, so he wasn't really getting shocked.
Oh.
I know, yeah.
Morals, bro.
See, morals. So, 65% of the people made it all the way to the end to kill the man. Mm-hmm. And all they did, even though maybe you could see it in their face that they thought it was wrong because a guy in a coat said it was right, they were like, all right, beep, shocking him. And you could hear him shouting like, stop, what are you doing? You can't hold me here. You're not allowed to hold me here. What are you doing? And they still carry on doing it.
Well, it's the same as what we said about Nazi Germany, isn't it?
Yeah. But these people are free. They've just been asked, come and do this. Mm-hmm. And then a guy in a white coat has told them to do it.
It's like going in to do a questionnaire off the street and stabbing the person with a pencil in the eye. For no reason. You know what I mean?
Why the fuck not?
Why? Because I can.
Until I can't.
Yeah. But no, it makes sense. It's just like the have you ever heard of the Russian sleep experiment?
Yes.
Now that is a
fucked up.
It isn't. It's proper bad. If you don't know what it is, I'm going to describe it to you.
YouTube the fuck out of it. It'll give you nightmares for the rest.
Because
of
it's the same. It's the same principle as what you're doing. The people went in. Basically, the Russians a long time ago decided to try and figure out how long somebody could go without sleep, right?
Yeah.
And what happened when people actually went without sleep for a specific amount of time, and what would actually occur. Because a lot of people didn't believe that you could die from lack of sleep. Everybody just thought you'd be fine. So the Russians basically conducted this experiment where they asked a load of volunteers to come in, and all they needed to do was to stay awake. And they'd be doing certain things to keep them awake for as long as they possibly could. And there was a cash reward and everything. Back in those days, obviously, it wasn't a lot.
Well, money makes people do everything, don't
exactly.
It?
So I think it was was this 6? I think it was either 8 or 6.
I don't remember the number. I just remember the pictures, bro.
Oh, no, yeah. So basically what happened was, and what they found was, the longer that people went without sleep, the more they wanted to continue without sleep. So you basically thought the opposite would happen. The longer you go without sleep, the more you want to sleep. But what they did was they basically pumped specialised gas in everything that they use in when you go to Vegas and stuff like that to keep you awake, higher oxygenated, to basically make sure you don't fall asleep. And they pumped this gas in, and a week went by, 2 weeks went by, and after the second week, they started to become different. Their personalities started to change, and like the skin colour started to change, the eye colour started to change, and just the way that we were behaving. And they were all locked in the same room together, so they had, you know, they were able to keep each other awake and everything. But as it went on, it got weirder and weirder and weirder, and it got to the point where the doctors wouldn't even go into the room anymore.
They couldn't do anything because they'd get attacked if they went in. They couldn't help these people because they were absolutely past the point.
Like there was no bringing them back. It didn't matter if you let them sleep. And what was happening was, they said to them, you know, we're going to let you sleep now.
He was like,
and
no.
They basically started trying to eat each other. They were biting the arms off, the legs off, to say to them, don't make me sleep because I don't want to sleep. And they'd got into this trance of being awake that humans never even thought was a thing. It's like a different stage of being a human. I suppose you could probably describe it as like a psychedelic reaction. You know, if you were to have like a psychedelic, like mushrooms or whatever, like it's probably something like that. Like that, when you are that far gone, your brain either starts to eat itself, and cause, you know, mass changes in your mindset.
That's the only time your brain sort of gets to have a word with you is when you go to sleep. So if you take that thing out of where your brain gets to have a word with you, then what do you become? You become that.
Well, you become monsters. And if you've not seen it, look at it, because the pictures and everything like are absolutely horrendous. It's weird. It is a very weird.
It is indeed, but it's eye-opening as well. And that wasn't a pun intended either. Maybe it was.
Maybe. It was a good pun if it was.
Yeah, I'm always so punny.
What I want to know, going back to kind of morals, is that when did things become right and when did things become wrong? Like, let's go biblical. If you go all the way back, Adam and Eve, right? Don't eat this apple. It's wrong. Straight away, the apple gets eaten. Like, all the way
to being bad.
I think we are. I think that is humanity.
Like the forbidden fruit, you just want to eat it because it's forbidden. Where does that come from as well?
Why would God make a forbidden fruit? But
yeah, exactly.
Why, is it just that, you know what I'm going to do today, Mary? What? I don't know why God's wife's Mary. I don't even know why God's a bloke. God, whatever God is. Right? Just there's an assumption.
Wouldn't it just be like some energy somewhere?
You just sat there one day going, you know what we're going to do today? We're going to have a bit of fun. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a forbidden fruit there. It's going to be a fruit. Don't know why, because everyone's going to carry on eating it afterwards. But it's going to be an apple. Don't know where the word apple came from, but I've made it up in my head and it sounds cool.
Wouldn't he decide that his creation was shit from the beginning and just stop it there?
I mean, yeah.
Like, the test, they didn't
Well, he did,
pass.
didn't he? Because he kicked him out of Eden. And then that...
He couldn't bring himself to kill him.
Yeah, because Eden was a different, in theory, a planet, I suppose. Because it can't be on Earth, or it could be on Earth.
Yeah.
But that, I don't know. I've not read the Bible enough to understand where it is. But apparently they found the Garden of Eden as well. Just to let you know.
Is it pretty?
Don't know, I've not been.
Should we go?
Let's go. Next holiday. But, I don't know. I think it is. It's that point, like, why does it start there with humanity? Like, let's take religion out of it, and let's say religion doesn't exist, Adam and Eve weren't a thing. Let's say evolutional wise. In our evolutional path, when did morals become a thing? Like, when was the first thing, you know what, mate, you probably shouldn't throw that stone at a lion because it's probably going to bite your arm off.
Yeah, that's more instinct, though, isn't it?
That's what I mean. So is instinct and moral a similar thing? Or is then that instinct then becomes a moral that's then taught as a moral?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't put your hand on fire, it's going to burn.
I think that's why
an instinct that we have now, but it wasn't when they first made fire.
To teach about bad things that happened in the past, because we're all susceptible to just do it again. Because
Yeah.
like you can see by Bristol, everyone's just susceptible to fucking violence.
Mm.
And when you take, like, we're all in the house and stuff like that, left to your own devices, then do you just drift back to violence?
Mm.
If you take society out of the equation.
But then I suppose the other question is, who says that the government are right? Who says that the police are
This
right?
is the thing, yeah.
Who says that...
Because a lot of what they do doesn't sit right with me.
Mm.
But am I wrong? Or are they wrong? Or are we both wrong?
Well, the government are run by the people.
Mm-hmm.
So in theory,
Yeah.
if the government are wrong, the people are wrong. Because the government are enforced, put into parliament by the majority of people. So obviously everyone votes,
This is what we're
and
told,
the majority does that. So that means the majority of people are either wrong or right. And then everyone that's not the majority is either wrong or right. And that is politics. It's you're either on the left or you're right, or you're somewhere in the middle where you just don't care. Wave your hands, don't you? Just don't care. Sorry, but that's what morals are. That's why politics works, and it's the only thing that's ever worked for us, even though it doesn't work.
But politics is the reason for the fighting as well. Sometimes, like wars are fought because of politicians. Like one politician will be like, right, I've decided that all you men need to go over there and kill all those men. Do it. And then everyone's like, we're fighting God's war,
morals,
we're doing this. But it's just one man and his morals that people just blindly follow.
But it's not one man and his morals. It's the people that
put that guy
person into power.
Yeah.
So it's the majority of people's morals.
Yeah, because you always have some people that believe in it, don't you?
Going back to what you said about people sitting there and not doing anything when something bad happens.
Yeah.
If a war was about to go off and 98% of people didn't agree with the war that was about to go off, in theory, because the people run the government, that war should never happen.
That's true. But the war in Iraq, there was many protests. Even in my school, Haywood, not the best school, but we all threw our books down, went out of the class and was screaming, "Don't attack Iraq." Like, most people were saying don't do it.
Yeah.
But we fucking did it anyway.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean?
Well, something similar happened with Vietnam, didn't it?
Yeah.
Vietnam War got stopped by the people because the American people said we don't want it
so
anymore.
we're just made to think that the majority is in charge, but what really happens is no one gives a fuck, and they'll just do what they want anyway.
Yeah.
And if something like something that people don't agree with that they go to protest over, like the thing in Bristol, if the majority decides that that's not something they want to happen, then something blows up, and then like all the attention is taken away, and
From
then
the
everyone
narrative.
forgets
Yeah.
what they were even protesting for in the first place.
Yeah.
So then they'll just go and do it anyway.
And that's why a lot of psychologists will say hierarchies cannot work with humanity, because while
You
there
can
is someone
see
in
it
power,
right in front of your eyes,
Yeah.
all of our eyes on the fucking news,
Yeah.
like you walk out in the street, it's falling apart at the seams.
and it's only going to get worse
it's showing
because of
all
the amount of
cracks.
people that are in the world. What we've got now, like 8 point something billion.
Yeah, it's showing, like all the cracks are showing now. With like the pandemic, what's happening in China, what's happening in America, all the cracks are showing.
Yep.
You vote for one person, they still don't get put in power.
No. But this is what I mean about, like, let's talk about responsibility. Is the responsibility of running a country too much for a set of politicians? Because we live in a democracy, don't we? And a democracy is supposed to be run by the people, and you have the Prime Minister, etc., that are supposed to run for the people.
Too many people with different opinions.
Yeah. Too many people with different opinions and different morals.
But if we're all taught the same morals in school, how are they all so different?
This is the thing that nobody understands. I think that then comes down to your subconscious, which is, again, the environment that you're brought. So, you know, when we watch like the House of Commons, I sit there and I look at it and I'm like, it's like watching a school playground.
It is, really.
How are these people running the country? I don't get it. I watch it.
They're talking about serious, actual shit, but they're like, oh yeah, you know.
When was it? It was a couple of weeks ago. Randomly, I flicked on and they were on, and they were talking about. Oh God, what was it? It was something. I think it was when like gyms were reopening or something, and all the gym owners has basically been arguing to reopen because of the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
And it went in, and they were talking about it, and there was probably about 7 politicians in the room. That was it. Talking about whether the gym should reopen or not. There was no one else in there. Everyone else had left the House of Commons. And you know, when you look at videos of the House of Commons, you know when serious things get brought up?
Yeah.
There's hardly anyone ever in there.
No. It's only the stuff that, like, people want to see, sort of.
Yeah.
The charade that it is. Let's flick on the House of Commons and see that fucking charade of them all fucking talking shit.
But I don't understand how, like you said, if everybody's taught the same morals of what's right and what's wrong, why do we have left, right, far right, middle, conservative,
swinging on the fence?
Like, why? How is that even a thing?
How is it
possible?
That
just because people like to be different? Like, me and you are different. You've got a different opinion and I've got a different opinion. So you've got to be one and you're the other.
Opinion is different is because I've got different morals.
Yeah.
In which I searched high and low, searched my conscience, searched my instincts to teach me, because I don't agree with the consensus, and I'll never fit in with the consensus.
No, because you don't want to be put in a
group. Yeah.
Which is what everybody's in, whether they like it or not.
Yeah. I think humanity crave to be in groups.
Well, I think that comes back all the way from, again, evolution.
And it's also
we were tribes.
Yeah.
Find your tribe. That's what everyone says. Grow up, find your tribe, stick with them.
Yeah.
Do you know? And when you're a soul wolf that goes by themselves, everyone expects you not to survive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Cast aside.
Yeah.
You feel like you're exiled from humanity.
Yeah. Because you don't fit into one of these narratives, one of these groups. But I don't think it should be like that. And literally what we're doing on the creative platform is to say to people, that's not how the world is.
No.
Be creative. Find who you are supposed to be and run with it.
Yeah.
Don't let society and all the politics and everything
judgment.
Bring it down.
Yeah.
Don't let people with bad morals pass their morals on to you. Find your own.
Yeah. I think that's the best thing you could do, is to search inside yourself. But then you could do that and end up being Hitler.
Yeah. Well, exactly. But Hitler didn't even feel like he was doing anything wrong.
No.
Even though we all know that he did.
He maybe
himself. He was an artist.
Himself.
Yeah.
And decided that what he's doing is right. He's making a master race and he's doing what, like, say Thanos, for example. I agree with him sometimes. Do you know how he clicks half of the...
I would probably agree with you as well.
Yeah.
If the only way for the universe to survive is to kill half of the universe, then...
It's going to get to that point at some point.
But that's why Marvel did such a good job of creating that character, because everybody at some point thought, do you know what? He kind of has a point.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, watch the films right.
He says, he's like, look at you, you just fucking kill each other, you do this, you pillage, you blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm just going to click all that away.
Yeah.
So, I couldn't help but think that he was the hero sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, why? Just let him do
Well,
it.
that's what I mean about the darkness. Like, the darkness lives inside of every single person somewhere
I
in
think
their
this
subconscious.
this is what we were arguing about, because I was saying, like, generally we're all bad
Yeah.
and we don't deserve the earth. And you were saying, well, Matt, that's not true.
No, what I was trying to say, and maybe I said it wrong, what I was trying to say was that to generalize that everybody is bad is to generalize a lot of subtitles. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to put me and you in the same perspective as Hitler, you can't generalize that. Otherwise, everybody would be Hitler.
Yeah.
So everybody has the capability to be Hitler,
Yeah.
but not everybody acts on it.
Yeah.
Just like everybody has the capability to stop war, but nobody acts on it.
Yeah.
So you're right in the sense that there is darkness by letting all these things that we know shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But then there's the good side as well, where it's, you know what, we can't do anything about that, but what we can do is set up a company where we employ people to be more creative.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like everyone has...
You can add to the positive side of humanity.
Yeah, if you can't do anything about the negative.
Yeah.
Because, and I think that's why you've got a lot of people, like, on the news stories that have, like, British people that have gone and signed up for ISIS and all that lot, you know what I mean? Because they've thought to themselves, oh, it's good. They thought that that was morally wrong, so they've gone to fight for their morals. Again, in their opinion, that was wrong. In my opinion, it was right. You know what I mean? Like, ISIS was terrible, whatever.
Yeah.
But in their opinion, they just had a different opinion.
Yeah.
A lot of them had wife, kids and everything at home, but just didn't like the fact that this was going on and wanted to do something about it.
Yeah.
Like you were saying about, for example, what's happening on the other side of the world with concentration camps and everything still going
in
on.
China.
Then, like...
That's what I'm saying.
One
like,
person
we're all,
do that?
Like, this is what... Sometimes I can't sleep at night because I'm like, I'm just going about my business, making sure my children are okay. But what about all the ones in China working in the shops? What about the people being held in concentration camps? And then I'm like, how can I just carry on and ignore this?
Yeah.
And then that makes me feel like I'm a bad person.
Yeah. But I feel like that, going back to religion, that comes into the fact of there is so much negativity that it takes the Son of God to come down and die in order for that to change.
Yeah.
And even then it didn't. So as a person, what is the likely outcome of you trying to have done something? It's exactly the
I
same with
struggled
any,
with that.
with
Do you
any
know,
speaker.
on my path to search to be wise, to have a good moral standing, all I found is it all leads to death and more death and destruction. And that's what it kind of brought. It ruined me for quite a while.
But you've got the side of death, and then you've got the side of life.
Yeah.
And if you look at how many people there were in the world 100 years ago, life's won.
Yes,
Because although we've had 2 world wars and a nuclear explosion, there's still more people alive living happy lives now than there was 100 years ago.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. So if you look at it, like how I always say, you have to look back and see where you've come.
Yeah.
And yeah, the positives do outweigh the negatives, but that still doesn't help me sleep at night.
No. I think it's one of those things. It's why most people don't start down the rabbit hole, because they're scared of figuring out what me and you know, and they can't comprehend that. It's like Brian Cox, right, the scientist.
Yeah.
He says to be able to comprehend the size of our universe is to be able to comprehend if God's real or not.
Yeah.
Like, it's not something that the brain can understand. You can't comprehend what infinity is.
I've even asked, like, random people, I'm like, will you just stop for a minute and think about the beginning of the universe? Just think about it and see what it does to you.
Yeah.
Think
Looks
what
great,
was before and what was even before.
Yep.
And what does that? It doesn't work in your head. It just makes you like makes you want to look at. It makes your head want to explode.
Have you ever had a dream where you've died?
No, because you wake up all the time.
Your brain can't comprehend what happens after death, so you wake up.
Yeah.
So that is literally.
Is it a
exactly
myth
the
that
same
if you
thing.
die in your sleep, you die?
I don't know. Should we find out?
Should we try it?
No, but you literally. I don't think it's possible to actually die in your sleep.
No. Unless you actually you've got something wrong with you, and then you go in your sleep.
Yeah, but then do you know you're dead?
Or do you carry on dreaming?
Yeah. And how do we know that that's a dream and it's not real life? Dun, 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 dun.
The blue pill or the red pill or the blue?
What was that film with Leonardo DiCaprio in? Really good film. It's
Is
about
it
that.
in? No.
Yeah, it is.
In time?
No,
No.
that's Justin Timberlake. Not even the right person.
What the fuck?
No,
the interception.
Inception.
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 I've got interception. That's what's wrong with me.
Yes, Inception. That is one of the best films I've ever seen.
Breast.
Breast.
You
It's one
got
of the
breast
best
on the
films.
mind,
Breast
chap.
on the mind, chap.
You got boobies on the mind.
Yeah, that's one of the best films I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And
A door
it's not
within a
because of the
door.
acting. It's it's
A dream within a dream.
And how possible that already is.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably a thing that already happens. It's just like when they talk about the
Like when you die, you wake up.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit! Next level.
It was all a dream.
Yeah, I'm on the next level now.
Bit of Biggie.
Yeah. That is a really good film.
Here's one for you. While we're on this subject,
Yeah.
the guy that wrote The Simpsons, time traveller or not.
Well, there's a.
If you don't know, I need to show you.
Yeah, no, I've saw.
Oh, you've seen?
Yeah, I've saw.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
But what a mathematician would tell you is everything is probability.
Repetitive.
You can
Yeah.
easily, accurately predict
Yeah.
the future just by looking at all the data.
Well, didn't a mathematician do that not long ago and
Yeah.
figure out that the end of the world was like in like 10 years?
Yeah.
And it was nuclear
you can
explosion.
Can you all see what's going on now? We're getting there.
I watched a documentary the other day about the ice caps and that they're the potential to kill us all. And the reason they believe that a lot of mass extinctions were because of the ice caps, and that there is that much bacteria and disease that are stuck in the ice caps
Yeah.
from millennium ago,
Yeah.
that because the ice caps are melting at an extreme rate, they're releasing more and more of these viruses, bacteria
That have been frozen.
that have been
for
frozen for
thousands
millions of years.
Yeah, millions of years. Yeah.
And all you got to do is look at something like the Spanish flu,
Even stuff that was formed at the beginning of.
right at the beginning.
Yeah. What? Beginning of the beginning. What?
What was before the beginning? Brian Cox has a really good answer to that.
Go on then.
I'm not going to tell you. You need to watch it. It's
Mother-
amazing. Sorry, if you want to watch it, Joe Rogan, Brian Cox, very good podcast.
I need to watch that.
Yeah. Joe Rogan asks him, so what was before the before?
Yeah.
What was before the
Can you
beginning
even
of time?
comprehend the end?
Well, they can see it.
Yeah, we can.
Scientists can see the Big Bang.
Yeah.
Like they know
Yeah,
exactly when
look,
it happened to within
Yeah,
a million years.
you can look through a telescope and see because it's expanding, and it all started off in the center of the universe, which is everywhere.
But he says, he's like, we see the beginning as the Big Bang. Nobody said that was the beginning.
Yeah.
No scientist will ever say to you, the beginning of time was the Big Bang.
No.
No. That's not true.
Want the beginning of time when we invented it?
The beginning of time was when we invented it, but the beginning of the universe,
Yeah.
everyone would say was when the Big Bang happened.
Is
or
it on
when
a
God
line?
created
Is it a string? String theory. Is it just linear? Because the only
suppose it
way
must
that
do.
the only way I can comprehend it is by saying it's not linear. It goes like this, and then like this, and then like this, and like that, and it just goes.
Well,
infinitely.
This is one for the flat earthers. The universe is flat in relative.
Yeah, that's how gravity works.
Yeah.
Because
it compacts everything down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at like the fabric experiment, if you just type like the fabric of space and time, you drop a big ball in, everything starts attracting to it, and then it goes around it and around it and around it, and it comes to a point where it can infinitely go around it. Yeah. Because of the because it doesn't go in a perfect circle. It goes in sort of a weird.
It goes in an orbit, which is what we're in around the sun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like the when we level up, we'll be able to see things in 4 dimensions instead of 3. Because at the minute we think it's flat, but what if it's not?
But I feel like we've already proved that it's not.
Yeah.
In the sense of what your subconscious is.
Yeah.
To me, your subconscious is number 4.
Yeah. Not only that, like we're talking about when we were talking about cause and effect. What's the thing before I do that?
Yeah.
The impulses are there before I even did
Before
it.
you even did
so
it.
what's that?
Yeah.
That's the 4th dimension.
Yeah. Did you know that you were going to do that before you decided you were going to do that?
Well, something did. The impulses were there before I even did it. So something knew I was going to do
what's
that.
impulse? If you break it down, an impulse is just a current of electric. Vibration.
Yeah.
That's it.
If you break everything down, it's just vibrations.
Yeah. Like, I'm not touching this table.
Yeah.
Like, if you zoom really close in.
Because there's space in between.
Yeah. You've always got, well, they call it like dark matter, don't they? They don't know what it is. Which is 99% of everything around us is dark matter.
Yeah.
But they just don't know what it is.
They just call it dark matter.
Which is, again, to me, your subconscious, your spirituality, and your
I think you're onto something
4th dimension. Because me personally, I believe that your subconscious and your spiritual are connected.
Yeah.
And your spiritual side. So, in my head, when I die, I think my subconscious becomes my conscious. That's how I feel. And then that is my 4th dimension. And dark matter is where that conscious lives.
So where your energy goes, sort of thing.
Yeah. Because energy is forever.
Yeah. It just changes into something else.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't just disappear into nothing.
Yeah.
Because nothing doesn't exist. Nothing is always something.
Yeah. Energy just converts into different things.
Well, it's just like, look at the Lion King, the circle of life.
Yeah. The infinite.
You get buried in the ground.
Yeah.
That energy then becomes grass that cows eat.
Can we just have a moment to appreciate the Lion King?
The Lion King.
And Mufasa, the most brilliant man that ever... the most brilliant lion that ever lived.
Mufasa.
That's a wicked name as well. I'm not saying I'm having any more kids, but Mufasa.
Hey, fuck off, it's mine.
That's a thing. You ain't having that, fam.
But that whole idea, like the circle of life, like if you break it down, that is, to me, the 4th dimension. It's whether you get buried, blown away in the wind, however you die,
your energy gets passed on.
Yeah. Well, look at like
and is
heart
that
transplant.
is
Let's
that,
say I
right,
die.
Is that? Are we influenced by people that came before because their energy is still there?
I'd say yes and no. I'd say that's probably where your spiritual side of things come from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like let's take spirituality, right?
If you sort of connect yourself with nature and stuff like that, like do you start crossing over into the 4th dimension when you take like the psychedelics and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, look at anybody that's ever took like LSD.
Yeah, they end up running naked for
No, but like they'll all come back and say,
yeah, they crossed over to a next dimension.
Like, what I've witnessed, they'll change life forever. You can listen to like Joe Rogan podcasts, and he takes it like not all the time, but he's had multiple episodes where he's took it, and it's created a whole different meaning in his life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I was saying, like, let's say I die, and I give up my heart,
Yeah.
and somebody takes it
Yeah.
because they need a heart transplant. My energy,
Yeah.
is that still in my heart? The reason why I say that is there's been multiple reports of people that have had heart transplants
Yeah, and
that have said that,
they're getting memories and stuff.
yeah, that they have these things from this other person's heart. They remember things, they see things that they've never experienced before, and it's only started since they've had a heart transplant. Now, a lot of that could be...
Yeah, well, because
hearsay,
usually it goes back into the earth, and then maybe that sort of, like what I said, it converts and influences stuff. But if you then don't put it in the ground and it don't decompose and go back
Yeah.
and goes into someone else's body, then it's fair. If we're going with that theory, it's fair enough that would happen, because it's supposed to go back into the planet. Like everything that's on Earth right now has always been on Earth.
Yeah.
Everything that's here
Yeah.
has always been here.
Well, it's just mass
And it just
recycling.
it goes round and round like the infinite symbol. The only thing in my head that makes sense is infinity.
But did you know there's multiple different types of infinity? Like, infinity isn't infinite.
What do you mean?
There's one for you.
Well, I can't comprehend that because I was at peace a minute ago. Elaborate on that, young man.
No, basically, like, in order to calculate a figure,
Yes.
the figure has to end. Which means if you were to say infinite and write it down, at some point that number would have to end.
But
because maths rules the universe.
numbers are man-made. In our opinion, maths rules the universe. Because
maths is an interpretation.
Yeah,
of the
we
universe.
feel like we've got it right.
Yeah.
Like every mathematician will still tell you that we might have it wrong.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah. No, I agree.
So, like, if it's based on something that's man-made, there's always the chance that we're completely fucking wrong.
Yeah, but that still doesn't mean that infinity is infinite. Because let's say we've got it wrong, until we've proven that it is wrong, then it's right.
Yeah, that's what science is.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it just so happens that things do fall into place with maths.
well, it's like they say the universe is expanding infinitely, right? But if it's expanding infinitely, then it can't expand.
Yeah, where's it
Because
going?
in order to something expand, it has to
expand into somewhere.
into somewhere.
Yeah,
So that means the universe can't possibly be infinite.
yeah.
There has to be a line. Do you know what I mean?
But it bumps into a wall like, oh fuck, I can't get
I've
free.
reached the edge. Like the Truman Show, when he's
Yeah.
just sailing and he thinks he's getting out, and then he
Yeah.
hits a wall and he's like,
Exactly.
oh. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, it's a human perception. So if it's a human perception, it can't be 100% true.
Yeah. Well, you were saying about schools, like you taught, and it might be going off onto a different subject, but in school you get taught in physics about the Big Bang. Then you go to RE, and they teach you that it was God. And then you go to, what else did you say? Science, and then they say it was evolution and blah blah blah.
Well, I got kicked out of my religious education class in school, GCSE religious education, because I asked a question that I wasn't supposed to ask. And basically, the long and short of it is, and I've still never figured the reason that why, is so we had physics, right, which was all about, we were getting taught about the Big Bang and how evolution happened and whatever. Even you could stretch it into biology about evolution and the reason why evolution was made, blah, blah, blah. Then you've got religious education, which teaches you Adam, Eve, Jesus, whatever religion it is that you're taught, right? And then you've got history, which is archaeology, everything like that. So the origins, basically, of what we have proven, right? So and I remember it like it was yesterday. In science, we were getting taught about evolution, and we got told that there was a missing piece, and they still haven't found this missing piece.
Yeah.
We can get up to a certain level of evolution, but there is a missing piece that scientists and archaeologists have never been able to find that links us to Homo sapiens and where we are now.
Yeah.
Right? There's a common ancestor that's not been found.
Not there.
Not saying that
Not
it
a
isn't.
lobster.
No, not a lobster.
Oh, fuck.
Not saying that it isn't, and they might be wrong. They might have proved that now. I might have found one, but back in the day, that was the thing, right? And that was the stamp on evolution and why evolution was proven, but not the level of proven wasn't there because of this missing step, which is why scientists were so trying to find. Then, if you go into history, we got taught about Native Americans and their beliefs and where they came from, the reason why they were brutal and everything like, even though they weren't when you look up to it. But you then get told about archaeologists and the further back in time you go, the skeletons, how we've grown physically, mentally, how our brains have expanded, everything like that. We got taught that in history, right? Because it's an important part of our history to know where the origin of where we come from. Then you go to religious education, where I went to a Catholic secondary school, so we got taught about God and Adam, Eve, the burning bush, blah 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 blah. And I remember I'd gone into history in the morning, and then I went into science in the afternoon, and then I went into religious education. I remember sitting in religious education and my teacher saying something about how the world was made in 7 days, and we were talking about, I think it was like the 6th day and what happened on the 6th day and the reason why God was able to rest on a Sunday, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I just asked, which was more likely, that a being that we can't see but we think is there made everything that we see within 7 days, well, within 6 days, and rested on the 7th, or that an energy that scientists have proven that are there created it over millions and millions and millions of years?
Yeah.
Which one was more likely?
Using vibrations.
Yeah, which one was more likely? To which my religious education teacher turned around and said to me, well, I'm telling you that it's this. So I turned around and said, well, does that make you right?
Yeah.
Because the lesson I just had says that you're lying to me, or that you're wrong. To which my religious education teacher turned around and said to me, why are you calling me a liar? Said, I'm not calling you a liar.
But somebody's fucking lying.
And somebody is not telling me the truth.
Yeah.
Now, whether you don't know, so you're just giving me your opinion, that's fine. But that's your opinion, and you can't force that opinion on me. I need to learn that opinion for myself. Whether it's science that's wrong, history that's wrong, or religion that's wrong, one of you is wrong. Not all three of you can't be right. But having said that, as I've got older, just because there was a Big Bang doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't a God. And I think we live in a world today where if you want to be religious and believe in evolution, but to me, you can still do both, because there's a narrative that you can follow, and there's space within the religious criteria that evolution can fit into. Do you know what I mean?
You just don't have to follow a set one.
No.
You start developing your own beliefs.
I mean, the logical thing would be to say that God created the universe, and that the universe has expanded at however fast it was, and evolution came from God's creation, right? And Adam and Eve were angels or disciples of God that were there to protect what was happening in the universe. That's kind of how I look at it. You know what I mean? If I wanted to believe that there was a almighty power, that's how I would look at that.
What I would say is, if there was one, why the fuck would he be here? You know what I mean? He would have just moved on. I have no idea, like, why, if there was, he'd want to be here and still open the doors to anyone.
Well, a lot of people, I think it's like the question, like, and I've heard this argument quite a few times, if there was a God, why is there so much bad stuff that happens? God's not made that bad stuff happen.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
have.
Yeah.
So you can't, that argument, like children dying of cancer, or, you know,
But
people,
like in
you know,
every religious
dying or
book,
war, or...
like all of them, it's very fucking convenient that you can absolve all your sins at some point, but you can still do them as long as you say sorry. It's fine. Why would that be a thing? If there was, and why would he still be here watching all the shit that's going on?
Do you think that that comes down to what we were talking about before, about morals?
Yes.
Because you know how we said, in order to know something's wrong, you have to have either seen it or done it.
Mm-hmm.
So if God was to never forgive you, no one would ever go to heaven, because you have to do something wrong in order to learn that it was wrong.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
So if no one would ever to like stab each other, then how would you know?
How would you know? But then if God was to say, it doesn't matter, I'm not forgiving you,
Then why would
then
you change?
everybody that stood on an ant by accident walking down the street has done something wrong.
Yeah. No, but what I would say to that is, the other day there was an ant on my side, and I killed it, but not on purpose. I was trying to get it off my side, like into my hand, so I could throw it outside. But I didn't intentionally go with the intent to smash it. So if he was watching, he'd know I did that by accident, because he knew what I was feeling in my heart at the time, and I was trying to do the right thing. So that's different. If you walk on something not knowingly, knowing that you're killing something. But if you kill it, knowing that you're doing it, he would know. And then why would he forgive you for that?
So if you got in a fight downtown and someone was coming at you with a knife,
Yeah.
and you defended yourself and you smacked him in the head and he hit his head on a curb and died, would you
Yeah.
expect God to forgive you for killing that person?
I think
If you didn't, even though you didn't do it on purpose, would you feel that you needed God's forgiveness if you were religious?
no. Because I knew, well, inside myself, I know I didn't do it on purpose. But
then,
if you did and you had good morals, then that would fucking eat away at you.
but how do you know that God's morals are the same as yours? And how do you know that he knew that what you did was right or wrong?
Exactly.
Because you've got your right or wrong, but God's might be
But
completely different to
you've
yours.
already said that sort of God must sort of be inside you, and that's what your conscience is, like the fourth dimension. And
The fourth dimension, yeah.
That's what your conscience is.
Yeah.
So if you know, because everybody has to be alone with herself at night, like if you know that you did it on purpose, then you've got no fucking chance.
So do you think that, let's say you kill an ant on purpose, do you think that God could forgive you for doing that if you did it on purpose?
I don't think so. But then,
But is that at the same heart? Is that at the same line to murder?
I'm not here to judge people and tell them that just in my belief.
No, I'm saying in your belief.
Yeah, I
like,
don't think you
who
should.
You are.
You should even ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Because you did it on purpose.
Because you did it on purpose.
Yeah.
So you don't think that you deserve it?
No, and like that's what I'm saying. Like we're born and we destroy shit all the time, and then we say sorry.
Yeah, I hate that.
You know what I mean?
You know I hate that.
And you're like, what are you fucking sorry for?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, as long as you say sorry,
Yeah.
in the Bible, you're fine.
But that's societally taught.
Yeah. And that, like,
It's why words
does
don't
that develop your moral standing? Is that what develops your morals?
What, by saying the word sorry and
Yeah.
absolving yourself of your sins?
And
'Cause
knowing,
you could even look at it like that, like
literally knowing you can be absolved for your sins. Put it like if you definitely knew there was a hell, would
Yeah.
you do anything wrong?
no,
Exactly.
of course you wouldn't.
Because you know you burn for 1,000 years.
But let's say God isn't real.
Not 1,000 years, infinity years.
Let's say God isn't real. Let's
Yeah.
say that you do something wrong, and you are alone with yourself that night, and you apologise to yourself for doing it, and you absorb your own sorry.
Yes.
Would you say that that's the same thing as what you are doing when you go to a priest and ask for a forgiveness? Because what you're really doing is asking yourself for forgiveness.
Yeah, you can't ask somebody else to forgive you.
No.
You have to forgive yourself.
Exactly. But that's what any religion will say.
Mm-hmm.
You need to forgive yourself.
Mm-hmm.
God can forgive you when you forgive yourself.
Yeah, but secretly, if you don't, and you just say you do, then he'd know.
But then if God lives inside of you, he'd know that anyway.
He'd know, yeah. And I always say that I'm God, and so is everybody else.
So it's like when, let's say, a murderer comes out of prison after spending 25 years out in there, and they come back into life, and what they did when they were 16, they completely and utterly regret, right? Let's say they killed their, I don't know, somebody that was horrifically horrible to them for years, right? Let's say they killed that person, and then they go to prison for 25 years. After that 25 years, they've done their sentence, they come out and they're like, I'm a changed person. All I want to do is help people. And they spend the rest of their life helping other people, right? Let's say Nelson Mandela didn't do anything wrong, went to prison for loads and loads of years, came out, turned South Africa completely around into a much more democratic country, right? Saved millions of lives.
Yeah.
Because he went to prison for believing in his own beliefs that were wrong, right? And then he came out and did so much good.
Yeah.
Do you think if there was a God that he would have earned God's forgiveness?
Yes, I think so.
So what you're saying is if you didn't ask for it, you could earn it?
I think so. If you haven't got the intent of only doing it so you don't go to hell, I think.
Yeah.
Because that's what people do it for most of the time. They're not even fucking sorry. They just don't want to go to hell. Like if there is a hell. Yeah, if you led a shit life and you like, what does everyone do before they die? They're just like, oh fucking, I'm on the way to heaven. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what you'll say. You'll be like, I'm sorry for all the bad shit that I did. But it's too late then, isn't it? If there was.
Think of it another way.
If you've changed and you've not done it so you can, like, metaphorically go to the bad place, then you've literally...
What about if you did it the other way? What about if we said that nobody knows for certain, apart from people that have been there.
Yes, Patricia, we are very deep indeed. We've even got deep voices.
We are. We love these conversations though, that's why we do it.
We've always got different opinions as well, so it's kind of opening each other's eyes sometimes.
And again, everyone, like, take what we're saying with a pinch of salt. These are just our opinions. We're not trying to enforce opinions on anybody. If you're religious, amazing, keep up with it. If you're spirituality, amazing. Do your yoga or whatever you do, which I'm actually probably going to start at some point. I do fancy doing a bit of yoga.
Yeah.
A bit more flexible in my yoga.
I used to do yoga.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's good for the mind, body and soul. I
had a really good point and I can't remember what it was. Turn it around. So let's say that nobody knows that heaven exists and that hell exists.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say you spend your whole entire life being really, really good, and you die and there's nothing. Right? And you realise you're nothing, and then you come back to life and you're 45. You have a heart attack.
Yeah.
You go to this place, you realise there's nothing, and then you come back and then you're like, why the fuck have I spent my whole entire life being good when I don't get any reward for it?
See, that's the thing. Why would you feel like you should get a reward for being good?
No, I don't feel like. I'm just saying in general.
That question, like, why would you?
I feel like most people would think that.
Does that mean that Christians do good because there's a heaven, and if there wasn't, there wouldn't?
I think every religion's that.
Yeah.
Let's go back to being kids.
Yeah.
You do something good, you get a reward. You do something bad, you get punished.
Yeah.
You do something good, you go to heaven. You do something bad, you go to hell.
Yeah.
So why would you think any different when you die?
Yeah.
And then if you were to come back from that, knowing that it doesn't matter whether you're good or bad, that there's no heaven and then there's no hell, what would your life be like then?
The same. Because the reason why I'm doing good
It's for yourself. Yeah, exactly.
is for my children.
Yeah. But I'm on about like
The only way
generic
I
people.
feel like I'm going to live on and make my imprint on the earth, which I want it to be a positive one, is through my children. And then I want that to be passed down and passed down.
And I kind of feel like that's the reason why, again, whether God is real or he isn't, why religion was made. To have that sense of belief of that there is a reward.
Yeah.
And that there is a negative.
And was that put in place because we're very fucking destructive?
I think
as like a safety mechanism sort of thing for us.
But I feel like as far back as you go with Homo sapiens, there would be some sort of belief.
Yeah.
Whether it's in a higher being or whether it's like, you know, if you go to tribes even today, like
they
they've
always
got like
want to support a higher
thing
or something.
I think it's because people can't take the weight of it themselves as humanity.
Yeah.
We can't take the weight of the negative and we can't take the weight of the positive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you look at any like positive influence, at some point that person will have a breakdown. Jordan Peterson had a breakdown.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like I'm not saying every single person, but you know, people like Gandhi, right? Dead positive, had a breakdown. Malcolm X had a breakdown. Like all these there's only so much positive energy you can hold, and there's only so much negative energy you can hold before you can't hold it anymore. So surely that's the reason why you would then say, I'm not doing this for me, I'm doing this for a higher person, a higher being, a higher something, so you can pass that energy on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why those concepts were created, however far back it is.
Yeah. I think if people thought more about what they're putting back into the system of humanity or into the earth, if they thought, is getting my phone out and recording this bullshit positive, or is it a negative thing, and is it going to put positivity back into the energy system, or is it going to cause more and more negativeness?
Yeah.
Then everyone would be a little bit better off if they thought before doing stuff.
See, one thing that I got taught by my granddad a long time ago was, until man realises what death is, man will never be man. As in, like, until you sit down and actually say, at some point in my life, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And take that as a positive, not a negative.
I think that's partly that's what changed for me, is I started to come to terms with it and then started preparing for it instead of fearing it.
But
like
do
on
you
the last
think that there's
podcast we was talking about the comics coming and stuff like that, and it will eventually blah blah blah, and you should be sort of preparing for it anyway, because the metaphorical comet will hit and it will be the end.
Do you think that there's a possibility that you can go too far, like the other way with it? Like when you, like I would say that I'm at this point in my life now where I know I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Like it's inevitable. You can't change it. I want to leave my mark on the earth, however big, however small that is.
Well,
I want to
even
make
if
sure
it's
that
weed
when
on a
I've
tree.
left, yeah, but I want to make sure that when I leave, people remember
You've
me,
passed.
whether it's one person or 10 million.
And would
I'm
you
not bothered.
rather that energy that you leave behind contribute towards the positive energy of the
Yes.
earth, or
Yeah.
the negative energy of the earth?
Yeah, the positive.
So
And I think
then,
that's what people
would
need to
you-
make sure they
Would
do.
you make decisions based on that moral standing then?
Yeah,
Because you don't want to leave a black mark on the earth?
yeah.
Yeah. Same.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
But I think it's
why
important to
wouldn't
actually
I
think
wouldn't
about
be in
that,
Bristol.
because
recording it.
No. I'll be down there kicking shit out of people that have put
Yeah, you'd
windows
step
through.
in, like...
As much as sometimes,
like,
we don't like the police,
like
you still don't set people on fire.
Like firing squad, loads of people up against the wall.
Mm.
People these days would just stand and fucking video record it and do nothing.
Content, bro.
Yeah. It's like, this is going on my YouTube tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to get like 1,000 subs off this. You know what I mean? And it's where, like, the media pushes negativity everywhere because as a human race, we feed
Off
on
that.
that.
Yeah.
Like, everybody, like, someone does something good, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Someone does something really bad, then everybody's talking about it. Not all the time, someone does something good, who gives a fuck, but if you say someone did something really good, as soon as that other bad thing happens, no one cares about the good thing anymore.
So, like, you could say about Bristol, like, the good thing is that a collective of people have come together that are the same tribe and are against something else.
Against the consensus, and they think that's morally wrong, what they're trying to do,
So they've gone and done that, which is morally right in their head.
Yeah.
Then you've got a group of people that have saw that as an idea to get famous, basically is the reason why they've done it, to get known, to get famous, or just boredom, or whatever excuse they want to come up with for them, that thought doing what they did was morally right.
So I will put the question to them, do you think what you're doing is putting positive energy back into the planet?
Yeah.
Or do you think setting a fucking riot van on fire is putting negative, no matter who you are and what your morals are, just ask that question, is that going to leave a black mark or a white light? You know what I mean? No matter what your morals are, if you ask yourself that question, is this going to help generations of humanity decide what's right or wrong? Or is it just going to contribute, no matter if you think setting that van on fire is helping at the minute to, you know, I don't know what they might think.
Whatever, yeah.
But then ask the other question, is it going to put positive energy back into the earth? No, it's not.
No.
Fucking not. Fire, destructive, you know what I mean? It's not. But I don't get how people can gladly go and do something like that and then say it's helping in any way.
I think for me, that comes down to what we were kind of talking about the other day, is that you could probably round all that, what we've been talking about today, off with this simple point. And I don't mean this as a pun to anybody that is within this system, but the schooling system is broken and it does not work.
Well, we can see that firsthand.
So to solve empathy, to solve consequences, to solve good, to solve bad, to solve all of those problems we've been speaking about, in my head, could be solved in secondary school.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If they
And
didn't,
I don't mean this as in like in a really big-headed way, but I don't think it's even that hard to do.
no.
Like, don't get me wrong, like worldwide, obviously, to get everybody to agree to do this or whatever. But if you were to take one school and say to that one school, we're going to continue to do all the same lessons, but what we're going to do is we're going to change the way that we teach.
Yeah.
So instead of teaching people, here's a textbook, read it, learn it, recite it, write it down on a piece of paper, I'm going to tell you why I'm getting you to read that textbook and explain to you what that textbook actually means. And then I'm going to ask you for your opinion on what you think that textbook means. I don't need you to write it down. I need you to give me your opinion, because your opinion is valid.
I think before anything, we need to make sure that our children have a good moral standing. Because if they do, and they ask questions like, is what I'm doing putting positivity back into the planet, or blah, 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 if they start doing that at a young age, it will be better for like literally everybody. Then maybe they won't think that setting a riot van on fire is a good idea.
Well, it's like what it is, and I've made this point before on a podcast, is that it's like what Gandhi says, and he says that if every single kid in school was taught 1 hour of meditation a day,
self-reflection.
It'd solve world peace within a generation.
No, it would. If you lock yourself in a room every night and look in the mirror.
But for me, the problem could be solved with society.
Yeah.
As in the schooling system, but the problem then consists of when that child is then put at home and the environment that child gets brought up at home. For example, right? Again, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. You go to school, yeah. Let's say you go to a school where there's multicultural school, right? You get home and your parents are racist, right? You are more than likely going to be brought up being racist than you are to not
break out of that and decide for yourself.
Yeah, because although we said earlier on school has a more moral standing on people's education,
it doesn't teach you to think for yourself.
No. Which is the problem.
It teaches you to think as a hive mentality and everyone to think the same.
The same.
And I think that's the biggest problem.
So this is what I'm saying. You could solve school.
Yeah.
But then you'd still have the problem of
the other outside influence.
Yeah, the other generations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your parents, for example. Your moral standing, yes, can be made in school, but when you leave school and you're at home and you spend a weekend with your parents who have different morals to what you've been taught in school, that's an ultimate conflict. And then the only way to solve conflict is to either walk away from it or to fight it. Yeah. Which causes friction at home. So it's like you could solve school, but then what you'd probably end up doing is causing more problems for the children at home.
Yeah.
Because their beliefs are different to their parents.
Yeah.
Which then cause arguments at home, which then causes parents and children to lose connection.
Yeah, I think parents have a responsibility as well to make sure that doesn't happen. And ask yourself that question, is what I'm putting into the child going to help?
But who checks the parents? Don't get me wrong, I know there is, you can't hit your kids, you can't do this, you can't do that, child abuse, whatever. I get that. But who's like in school, if you were to teach a child as a teacher racism, you'd get done. At home, if you were to teach a child racism, it'd probably never ever really get found out. Do you see what I mean? Who's the person or the thing, the entity that's protecting children when they're at home that want to move away from that thought process of the parents?
I guess you'll find out when you die, won't you?
But it's weird though, isn't it?
And are you gonna just carry on and then just find out when you die? Really?
I suppose it's like what came first, chick or the egg? What do you cure first, the parents or the child? Cure's probably the wrong. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Cure's probably the wrong word.
Change thought processes.
Yeah. Who would you do first?
We're all children still, though, aren't we? So just everyone. No matter what, like no matter how old and grey you get, you're still that child that you was born as. No matter if your physical appearance changes, you're always that same kid that you always was.
So if we were to do, if you were to change the children first,
yeah,
then their children and their children and their children,
yeah,
eventually that would get weaned out.
Yeah.
So you'd kind of leave the parents behind and be like, you know what, we tried with you,
yeah,
but it didn't work. We tried with the next generation, it's kind of worked. We tried the generation after that, and it's worked. Now we've got 3 generations that are all trying to work in a similar way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And who's keeping that in check?
I just think it's about time that somebody or something, some entity, something out there changed the way that society is taught.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how 100 years later we're still
having the same
doing the
fights.
same thing.
We're still fighting over the Holy Land. We're still doing this. We're still doing that.
It's the definition of insanity. We've done the same thing over and over and over again, expecting that we're going to have a different result, and we haven't.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. When is that change gonna, like, we say, there's people starving at the other side of the world, that'll change one day.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck is it still a thing?
But why would it change? If there's no need for it to change, why would it change? And the people that are there
because morally,
have got a need, but we haven't.
Yeah, morally it should.
It should, yeah. Morally, cancer shouldn't exist, but it does. Mm-hmm. That's why you've got people working to cure cancer. Whether they have or not is a different story. But that's why you've got people working to cure it, right? Just like world hunger, you've got people working to stop world hunger.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it's going to happen.
Yeah, but then cancer is something, that's a disease. I guess like violence is also a disease, but it's something within our control.
Yeah, I suppose it's man-made, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, so that we have the power as a group of people to make that change, but not everyone will ever want to, because we're just, well, people are born destructive, and it's up to your parents and the older ones to stop that from happening.
Yeah, I feel like that's where the saying, you know, look up to your elders, like, comes from. You know, even when we got brought up, like, it was always respect your elders, respect. There's no respect anymore.
But then, yeah,
the generation of respecting your elders is gone. For me, anyway. When I see it, when I walk around.
But then you could respect your elders, and your elder could be racist.
Exactly, yeah.
I think the only way you could possibly do it is by asking, is what I'm doing putting positivity back into the earth, into everything, or is it not?
Yeah, and I think that, like you've just said, it has to start on an individual basis.
Yeah, it can't be someone goes, right, it's time to change everyone, let's all do it. It has to be a group decision. You know what I mean? It has to be, we're fucking tired of this crap. So we're everyone is going to make a change. And I think a start, maybe asking, like, is energy that I'm putting in breeding more positive energy? And when I die, I'm going to leave positive energy behind.
It's self-checking.
Yeah. I think...
Check in with yourself.
Yeah, if people, like you said, had a moment at night to think about things, instead of going on the phones, watching Netflix, blah, 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 just sit there...
And actually be one with your thoughts. Yeah. But I feel like the reason why the average person doesn't do that is they use the excuse of time. But I think it's the fear of realising how bad it is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to realise that you're not as good a person as you thought you were is a scary thing to do.
That's the conflict that you have to have with yourself.
With yourself, yeah. And you have to overcome that.
And if you come to that realisation, then don't take it in a negative way and be mad at yourself. Then you've done the thing, and that can be the start of something new.
Constructive criticism.
Yeah.
But to yourself.
Yeah.
It's self-inflicted. You know, if you wake up in the morning on the wrong side of bed, that's the good old saying, oh, you woke up on the wrong side of bed this morning.
Yeah.
Then have a think to yourself about, why has that person said that I've woke up on the wrong side of the bed? What have I done to make them think that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Am I throwing my fucking negativity around the room?
Yeah.
Like,
but also, what makes you wake up
on the wrong side
of bed? Is that something that happens when you're alone with your own thoughts at night, and you realise that you're this horrible person, and you wake up feeling horrible because your brain's just told you that you're horrible?
Yeah, but what people would then do is find people that tell them that they're right.
Yeah.
Instead of having a word with themselves. Yeah. They'll just go looking for a group that accepts them as a dick.
Yeah.
And then you're a group full of dicks. You surround yourself by 5 dicks.
Yeah.
And then you're all dicks together.
Yeah. But that's all morally accepted within that group.
Of dicks.
because everybody thinks the exact same morals.
Yeah. So
You know what I mean?
need to not do that and carry on with yourself.
I don't think you should be a part of a group until you find who you are. I don't even think you should be a part of a group in the first place, to be honest with you.
No.
I think putting yourself into it, I'm this and I'm that and that's ridiculous. You are you and everyone else is them.
Yeah.
Like, figure out who you are and then worry about everyone else. But we get taught so early that we have to be a part of something else that we never actually get time to develop who we are.
Yeah.
Because before we know it, we're already part of a group. You're part of the middle class group. You're part of the lower class group. You're part of this. You're part of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You're
You're not allowed to
everywhere
break
you
out
turn.
of any of these groups.
Yeah.
And when you do, you get depressed.
Oh, even if you don't think you are, you're part of the 99%, mate. You're not part of the 1%, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, but why have you got to put me in the group? I don't want to be in a group. Don't put me in one.
No.
I don't like it. The only group I like being in is a rugby team, mate, on a Saturday afternoon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because our whole morals are to beat the other team.
Yeah.
That's
like teamwork.
That's teamwork.
But you're not
Teamwork makes a dream work.
Exactly. It does. And we're not saying don't ever be part of a team. That's different.
It's completely different.
You can work together and still be an individual and still have your own morals and beliefs.
And I think deep down everybody does. I think if you were to actually sit in a room with people that are all in the same religion, if you were to break down their morals and their understanding of themselves, they would all be
so we're not so
completely
different, are we?
They'd all be completely different.
Oh, you think they'd all be absolutely
100%.
different?
I think if you had a room of 50 people that believed in God, I think if you sat them down and actually figured out their own beliefs, I think they'd all have a different interpretation of their religion.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because law says that you do, because nobody is the same. Even twins aren't the same.
Yeah, I know that firsthand.
That's what I mean. You know what I mean?
Very interesting to watch twins grow because they're born more or less the same time. They look the same, but they grow up completely different.
Completely different personalities.
Yeah.
And even if you were to instill...
They've got the same parents,
Yeah.
same environment,
Yeah.
but they're different.
Yeah. But if you were to don't obviously do an experiment on your children, people at home, but if you were to do an experiment on a set of twins and teach them the exact same thing at the exact same time, when those children are, let's say, 10, they would still be two completely different people.
Yeah, they would.
No matter what belief, no matter what emotions or anything, even though they've experienced the exact same things in their life at the exact same time, so there's been no biased, they'd still be different.
Yeah, they would.
So that to me says, how could there possibly be a thing such as a group? Because you're not the same.
Not even if you're born the same, you're not the same.
You know what I mean?
Not even if you split off from the same egg,
Yeah.
you're still not the same.
No. So I just don't get the need and the want to be a part of a group, a cult, or whatever it is. It's like you have to latch onto it and you can't let go because you're scared of being alone.
Alone with yourself.
Yeah.
But you need to be, because you need that self-reflection to grow.
But I don't think you need to be alone like all the time.
No, well,
you need to have that interaction.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
Again, to figure out what's right and what's wrong. But you also need that 10 minutes, an hour per day where you just sit and you think to yourself, right, who am I? What am I doing? What am I?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Like I said, am I on a daily basis? Am I
Yeah.
contributing to the bullshit,
Yeah,
or am I not?
yeah,
If I go out with a balaclava on and put my hood up and start fucking kicking a riot van, is that contributing to the negative or the positive? No matter what you're fucking doing it for,
yeah,
there's an outcome. Energy goes somewhere. It's always converted into something else.
but it's just like I've said to you before, like,
Well, like, positive energy will pass on as positive energy, and negative energy will never convert into positive energy. It will just keep going.
but it's like I said, I've said this to you before, like, when I say to people, take a look in the mirror at yourself,
Mm-hmm.
what I really mean is take a look at the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you look into a mirror, all you're doing is looking into the past. It's the past you. And the idea is that when you stop looking at the mirror,
Yeah.
you realise that the past has been left in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
and you are now a different person to you were when you looked in the mirror.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And
This is
it's
how
that
we grow.
reflection. Yeah, that's where the word reflection came from. It's having self-reflection within a mirror,
Yeah.
realising that that's not present, that's past.
Yeah.
And all it is light hitting at a different time to how long your eyes can look at it for.
Mm-hmm.
And realise that it doesn't matter what you think you look like in that mirror, it's still the past.
Yeah.
And it's now changed.
Yeah.
And just go with it and change in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And everyone's got a mirror, so no one's got any excuses.
No.
Even when you're having a bad hair day.
Yeah. I'm not looking in the mirror. I don't like it.
I'm sorry. But it's important.
But if you don't like the person that you're looking at, maybe you need to change.
And I think that's why so many people become negative, is because when they realise that they don't like the person that they are, they put all their problems onto somebody else and expect the other person to hold those problems for them.
Yeah.
Rather than...
And sort it out, but it's only ever going to be down to the person.
Yeah. Like the saying, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it
And
drink.
also, if you don't really want change in your heart, then you won't.
No.
So you
Which
have
comes
to really
down to
want
you
it.
know what's morally right and what's morally wrong. If you don't want to, you won't.
Yeah. And it's like God, would know that you don't really want to change, and that's you.
Yeah.
So you would know that you're lying to yourself, and you're just doing shit. So other people view you in a positive way. You're not actually doing it because you want to.
Yeah. You're right, Lindsay, he did. Hopefully that wasn't at the same time he was touching children.
Michael Jackson, yeah. What the fuck? I'm glad I didn't. I would have spat that all over you, bro.
I'm just saying, you make a good point, Lindsay. But there's always the other hand. Do you think Michael Jackson went to bed every night thinking positively? Or do you think he thought he was doing something wrong? Morals, bro. Morals. It's all about morals.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet the chimp had different morals to Michael Jackson.
No
Oh
way.
dear.
Oh, I'm so glad I didn't drink this. You noticed, by the way, so about this. We left the green screen thing on.
Oh, did we? So it's disappeared.
That in the background, yeah.
Oh yeah, we did, didn't
That's
we?
green.
Oh, yeah.
It's not black.
I forgot.
I know, yeah, it doesn't matter because we're not green, are we?
No, we put.
But it's it's cancelling out the Lucozade bottle.
Yeah.
I noticed earlier. I was like, "What's going on there?"
I know, because your jumper's black on there. It's not actually black. It's green.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
It is. Right. I think we've solved the problems of the universe.
And on that bombshell. Wait,
we literally went through all of that.
yeah. So do you do you think that we're destined for destruction, or do you think that we will one day manage to come together as a race and actually change in a positive way?
As a race, no. As individuals, yes. And I think the most important thing is to do it as an individual.
Yeah.
And there's no possible way that one person can control 8.6 billion people.
No. And they're stupid if they think they can try.
Yeah.
Because you can see it today, it's not working.
Why do you think we're already planning to move to Mars, mate?
I know, yeah.
Because even the people that are part of the 1% group
Yeah.
already know that
They don't want to be here. Yeah. They don't
They're like,
wanna
I'm
be
off,
here.
mate.
Yeah.
That's why everyone's like, let's build a rocket. Let's go to Mars.
Yeah.
Get 2 generations.
Yeah.
That'll be us, mate. And then if the world does go to part, well, at least we've got people on Mars.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to Mars. I think that's all I can take from this podcast is that I'm getting out of here, mate.
Yeah, I'm buying a piece of Mars. You know, when I'm rich, first thing I'm doing is buying a part.
All I seen when I seen Bristol, like, is I was like, Mars. I'm going, mate.
Not even Mars, just an island on Earth that's got no one else on it.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of coconut trees.
Yeah, but then you'll find like some natives that will just want to eat you because we're destructive. They're like, a new person, let's eat the fucker. Like, what? Why?
I wouldn't want to eat me. Have you seen me?
I know, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like,
you want to eat this hairy bastard?
you'll be picking hair out your teeth for weeks. I don't think they'll care, mate.
No. I don't think
Right,
they do.
yeah, I think we should pop off and leave it there.
Thanks everyone for listening. If you missed bits and bobs, we're going to be uploading the video obviously to Facebook and to YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, go across.
Yeah.
If you've got TikTok, go give us a follow on there.
The link should be on our page. Link
as you can see behind us, we've got some merch. That is green, by the way. What we're going to be doing probably next week is we've got a clothing brand that's being developed that's going to be coming out soon. Not only that, we're going to have this merch stuff for sale when we start live streaming our gaming platform, which we'll send everybody a link to so you can come watch that. All we're doing is we're going to be playing like old school games that we used to really enjoy playing, things like Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, Tekken. Bring back all the old games that people just don't seem to play anymore because they're fun. And I don't want to play a game, I don't want to have fun anymore. Yeah. So we're going to have a bit of fun with that. Come across.
It's more like light-hearted gaming instead of like, I must kill that guy, and if I don't kill him, I'm shit. It's not like that.
No.
We're going to have loads of fun.
Yeah.
And it's not even just video games.
No.
We're going to be playing
chess, Monopoly. We're definitely having a game of Monopoly, which is going to be brilliant. Yes, Lindsay, Spyro. I'm thinking about a bit of Croc and a bit of Raymond.
This guy didn't get a chance to speak, so he just wants to say bye to everyone.
Oh, Marley.
We never let him talk, do we?
No. We're going to give him a voice one day.
Yeah, we will.
I have a voice.
What would you do if he just was like, hello, I think you talk so much shit.
We're gonna make a video where he's talking and his eyes are gonna move.
Do you know what? We've got the capability to do that. So why don't we make him a person on the green screens?
Yeah, defo.
We've got a green room also.
But like we've also said, guys, you can support us massively. Obviously, everything that you see wasn't free. We've built from like scratch over a long period of time. You can support us. We're going to be setting a Shopify account up, like I said, with a clothing brand. We're going to be having all this merch sold for the gaming platform. And we're going to have loads more stuff that's going to be being made and done as well.
The reason we're doing all this is so we can put positive energy back into the earth.
Yeah.
Nothing negative. It's all to make you lot smile. We're even doing the news, but good news.
Yeah.
To put positive energy back into the planet, you know.
Which is going to be coming soon. We've not decided whether we're going to do it live or not. I think it's going to be recorded. And we're just going to be basically doing probably like once a week updates of what the week's been like, some good news. We also want everybody that's like watching the podcast and everything. We've made a group on Facebook that we've said that we want everybody to be interacting with. If you guys have got any good news that you want spreading, that you want spread into the world, whack it on there. We can talk about it on the news.
Yeah.
We can react to it. We can talk about it on the podcast.
Even if it's something that you're doing to put positive energy back into the earth, we'll talk about it. So that group is for everybody to. I know we say we hate groups, but it's just called a group on Facebook. Whatever. Yeah. You can just put your positive vibes into that.
Yeah.
And then we can share that with everybody.
Yeah. That's the plan.
That is the plan, Stan.
That is the plan.
It is, yeah. We've got loads of plans, haven't we?
Plans for days.
It's just time.
But keep an eye out, guys. We're also, now lockdown's kind of coming to an end, we're going to be having some guests on the show. So, anyone that's watching, if anybody knows anything, anyone that, you know, has got a really good opinion on something, whatever the subject is, we'd really like to get interesting people that want to spread good vibes.
Yeah, this table doesn't matter what industry it's come in. The table's bigger than you might think, so we could have 4 people around the table.
So we just want to get some people in, have some wicked conversations.
Yeah.
We don't care what group you're from or what class you think you're part of or whatever. We just want to have a nice conversation where we might not agree on everything, but disagreements
That's the point.
is good.
Yeah.
So, you know.
It's good. Like, me and you don't always agree on everything, and that's good. But we talk it out.
Patricia, if you are on about like coming on the podcast and stuff, and it's something that you're thinking about doing, give us a message, because although you're in America, we have this amazing thing
Called the airport.
well, I'm not flying to America, not yet. But no, we do have this amazing thing called Zoom,
Webcam.
where we can literally call you, so we can have you on the podcast, but you're not really on the podcast, if that makes sense. You're just in virtual reality.
Yeah, you could be where you want, though. We could even put you in this room. Because we're a wizard, Harry.
Yeah, you could be wherever you want. But like I said, guys, drop us a message and everything. Let us know, and thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, wait.
Cheers, guys. We'll catch you next week.